Welcome, Hana. It is such a pleasure to have a hemp seed genetics expert on the show and right in time for spring and planting season. And I know at least here in North America, I'm not sure what it's like there in Czech Republic.
Same.
The same. So it's been such a pleasure personally to get to know you, and I'm so excited to hear more and to share your insights with our audience. So um Hana, let's just start off with telling us a little bit more about your passion and your why and your journey into hemp. Why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, it started like many years ago. I've been like studying university. It was the University of the Agriculture. I studied like special agriculture called like uh, environmental landscape protection and like organic farming, something like that. It was like very long term. Nobody could pronounce it. And yeah, and then I was kind of like before like choose some thesis topic, and the time I was like smoking every day almost, like teenager, and I just like wanted to know more about this plant. And I got the book from Jack Herrer, Emperor Wears No Clothes.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, wow, that's amazing. Like so much things we can do from hemp. And I was like on the agriculture university. So I was like, let's study that. So I choose the topic for my thesis about industrial hemp. Of course, I needed to find some like professor who will like open the call with this topic, because nobody really like opened the call. So I needed make them to open the call for me on this topic. And yeah, then I did the thesis. It was like 1996, so it's like I started. So I finished my graduation in 1999. And yeah, since then I follow hemp, and I've been like working with the NGO Konopa in Czech Republic, which like promotes industrial hemp. And we did a lot of like seminars for farmers and like first expo, like far before like Canafest, which is now big expo with like 30,000 people. They started 2010, we started 2000. So
You've been
it
doing
was
this
like,
for a while, like before it was even, in the mainstream as much as it is now. But
yeah.
but as far as in Europe, you guys were kind of ahead, right? As far as legislation and rules and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Like during my thesis, actually, like the like Czech government figure out like the new regulations, which said like all all hemp can be grown the same rules like the poppy seeds.
Mm-hmm.
It's very popular in Czech Republic. It's part of like traditional cake, So of course we cannot stop grow it. Like in France, you cannot grow like poppy. It's like opium, Everybody will like look at you as like drug dealer. But in
Wow.
Czech Republic, poppy, it's like no problem. Everybody grows poppy. We have like 150,000 hectares, 300,000 acres of poppy every year.
So it was easier to introduce hemp.
Yeah, it was not really difficult because the rules was same, it was just announcement like one page till the end of the May, like where do you grow, which variety. It needed
Mm-hmm.
to be the registered variety of the European catalog, yeah, like the EU plant variety database, where that time was like listed enough varieties which we could grow. Czech Republic, that time was also working on the first project called kind of approval of the varieties which are like growing well in Czech Republic. So they also created the methodology for the Czech farmers how to grow. The like institute here in Czech Republic,
Mm-hmm.
which like was working on this project. And yeah, so it was kind of like not really difficult, like to kind of like go to the farmer and like, because like it wasn't like you need to have some permission or you need to have some license or you need to pay extra fee to be
Yeah.
able to grow it like it's many countries. It wasn't like that. It was just like one single page till the end of the May. Where do you grow? What do you grow? And like how big is the field? And in the end of the year, you needed to announce like how much did you harvest, it was seed, how much seeds, how much stem, where did you store it? So in case they want to check it out, they can, but same they need to kind of like, yeah,
Mhm.
publish or like present to the government if they grow poppy. So it wasn't anything like so far different for the farmers, also like big struggle. So it wasn't really like too big bureaucracy. It was just like
Mhm.
one A4 paper, to fill it. Not big deal.
No big deal. So, I mean, over the years, you've been studying like the genetics of the seed, right? So, where you're at, like, maybe you can tell me a little bit more of your studies throughout the years, like how many different, you know, seed varieties are there in your place, and then in other places that you've studied, and what are the benefits, of understanding the genetics of the seed?
Yeah, well, like in Czech Republic, we have one genetic which was registered like before 98. Suddenly, or unfortunately, the Czech government didn't register this variety and didn't put it on the EU variety list, so kind of disappeared.
Oh, wow.
But there is genetics from Poland, Hungary, Italy, France, Romania. Mostly those are the breeders which do the genetics for like the commercial kind of production.
Mhm.
There is more like this, like Rastislavické, which is not on the catalog. Or it's it, but it's not like commercial available, So there is like many breeders who has varieties registered, but they don't really like do the multiplication on the big scale, so they just like have them stored for like the breeding purposes or like research purposes. So, and I find out that the most stable varieties are probably from France, because the French breeders are really doing the job on the big scale, and they supporting farmers on like 50,000 acres grow, like in France, which is like half of all EU. So they really need to do their job very, very, very professionally and very kind of like good to be able to, don't fuck up like these big operations. So, and they are also able to do the scale, and they have like really their genetic, they have like 12 genetics different, so you can really like choose different ones. But if you want to see or look at the EU genetics from this like international perspective, European genetics are suitable for Europe because this is where they come from, But like
Right.
I would think like orders from like India or like Thailand or Malaysia or I don't know, like Colombia. Oh, we wanna like genetics like for fiber and grain, and I was like, we cannot really like supply that. Like you need to do your homework. You need to like import this genetic, but use them for breeding with the permission of the breeder, of course, and create like your own genetics. And this is how the kind of breeding of everything need to be done, like if like in Czech Republic we have like different kinds of potatoes which are suitable for different regions,
Right.
just because this is how the plant breeding works, like suitable for the region, for the condition of the particular like climate in the particular region. So
Right.
so I think like many people look to the genetics, like skip this part. Yeah.
They just
I
say,
don't know if
hey,
it's
send
like,
us the seed. It works for you, right? But it's not the
like what
same.
works for you, it will works for us. I was like, no, you cannot. Or send us like container. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. You need to like get like a little bit, do the trials, prove that like which variety works, and then you can like think about like growing something bigger. And it's not only like growing, you need to figure out like harvesting, processing, like post-processing, post-harvesting. It's like a lot of parts that like make the hemp production successful. And the seeds, it's like, of course, good beginning, but it's not only thing, and and there is a lot of things that the farmer need to consider, and the seeds. Of course, they always need to run the trial. I cannot really recommend anything out of Europe, like how it will work. Maybe I
Right.
can do it in US, because, like, the latitudes are more than less similar
Hmm.
in some states, but still,
Yeah.
the soil can be different, the air can be different. Like, I mean, like,
It's like you need to respect the land and the environment, right? And to try to
yeah,
understand
yeah, and
what it's
also,
like.
like, you starting something, so you really need to study that, like,
Hmm.
nothing really, like, success does not come like, it's not like lottery, growing hemp. No, it's like slow slow learning process with a lot of patience, and a lot of, like, money to invest in the learning
Yeah.
process to really understand. But if you give it time and passion, you really, like, able to succeed. I don't think, like just like throwing big money and expecting, like, big success.
Right.
It's probably
So
not working in hemp. Maybe in some industries works, but not in
yeah,
hemp.
not in hemp. You need to be patient. um, so what have you learned over these years? What have been some of your kind of like biggest successes in in all of your studying and working with the different seeds and different varieties? How have you like um, applied them also? Because you also have used them for feed and other things and food.
Yeah, well, I, I really learned what's the difference between growing hemp in, like, conventional farming and growing it in organic farming. It has, like, kind of different, needs, and also, like, adaptations.
Uh-huh.
I learned that you always need to start grow as soon as possible, because if you lose the time on the beginning of the spring, you lose a lot of, like, moisture, and then the growth suffer because of not enough humidity for its growth.
Hmm.
So, even, like, the hemp does not grow when it's, like, below 10 Celsius. It's, like, around, like, 40, 50 Fahrenheit. But the seed can sit in the soil, and, it will grow when it should grow.
So grow
But
early.
I
Is
think it grow early, it's better than late.
uh-huh.
I never really had problem with the frost on my hemp. Even, like, we are in the highlands of Czech Republic, and we have, like yesterday it was snowing here still, So, so it's like mid of April almost. So, yeah. So I also learned that, like, it's really important, like, the choice of the variety in regards, like, which purpose you're doing. People, like, I want to grow hemp. Okay, what purpose? I don't care. I just want to grow hemp. Help me out. I was like, I cannot help you if you don't tell me what you want to grow for. Like, it's really, like, like, every variety fulfill different, like, expectations, and also, like, for some you need the special machines, for some no, because there are, like, hemp can grow, like, very, very tall,
Uh-huh.
5 meter tall. This you cannot harvest, like, by regular combine, like, I don't know, like 15 feet of plants. You really need, like, some special machines, but there are, like, varieties which are, like, smaller one, suitable for, like, seed production
Hmm.
with, like, regular combines. So it's really, like, depends on the farmer, which, like, available machine he has and which infrastructure he has, or also, like, what variety I'm recommending, and also how the field it's, like, prepared. If it's, like, very rich field, okay, we can, like, put some, like, more expensive variety which gives, like, much higher yield. But
Hmm.
if you have, like, not really, like, the best prepared field, you go just with the regular variety, because the like it will not really like pay the cost like back if you put on like not well prepared soil, like very expensive variety which can potentially give you double or triple yield compared
Right.
to the other ones, but you need to really like feed it, because without nutrition you cannot
So it's
have
not
it.
only understanding the different varieties of the seeds and qualities, and then what you're going to use it for, how you're going to process it, but then it's also understanding your soil and the nutrients and how, because you can get a better yield depending on the quality of your soil, right? That's what you're saying.
Right. And also like, yeah, like prepare it, like also like the harvesting technologies, like what you have available. You don't go for like big varieties as far as you don't have the machines for them.
Yeah.
And you need to be really clear you have the right machines for like harvesting this tall hemp, otherwise you
Mm.
just like end up not harvesting them, because like 5 meter,
So
like,
you've seen that? You've seen people go through that length and then not have those preparations,
yeah,
the right
I
machines.
saw like burnt combines on the field,
Oh,
because like hemp has like very tough fiber, and it
right.
somewhere like rotates and then like stack, it can create like a lot of heat, and a lot of heat can like burn.
So you can go through all this trouble to get, a combine, but yet it's not the right one for maybe a longer fiber or something like that. And then the farmer comes to this issue where you're burning through your equipment.
Yeah, like you cannot really like overdo things, like if just in the combine goes too much biomass, because you cannot like push the cutter like higher enough.
Mhm.
So like the machine is like created for weight. If you try a hemp 4 meter high, which like the machine can go maybe like 1/3 to like high,
Uh-huh.
1/3 of the height of the total plant. So means like to like 60-70% of the plants still need to go through the combine, and that's
So
too
what do
much.
you do if
You
you
need to have like special combine. You need to like figure out like somebody with like right combine, or you grow like smaller variety.
Yes.
That is your choice.
Uh-huh.
But some people want to do like this high hemp because they want to also use the stem, and they want to like have this dual crop purpose of cultivation. So they grow seeds and they grow stem and they use both, which is like probably the best efficient, like,
Right.
for like the from the like economic perspective.
Right. But in doing that, you have to understand what is needed. What is needed as far as soil conditions, what is needed as far as equipment. What are other things that people need to consider when they want to grow crop for multi-purpose and larger crops?
Well, they need to consider also like the post harvesting, that the hemp seeds need to be like dried and like and clean it. So they need like equipment for drying and cleaning.
Uh,
And then they need to figure out also, or at least drying, cleaning. They
uh-huh.
can bring somewhere like long distance, like you need to really like dry the hemp immediately after harvest. Immediately, like
Yeah.
if not, you just like burn it. Because like hemp seeds has a high moisture, and high moisture in like the volume creates like heat, fermentation and heat, and
Hmm.
again you can like overheat them, and like they just get bitter, and it's not food grade anymore, and
Hmm.
like lose the quality. What you don't want to lose if you want to sell them for higher price, right?
Right.
So this is probably for the seeds processing very important to, when you're figuring out the harvester, you need to same time figure out the dryer. If you have not dry already, don't go harvest. And for the stem, you need to also figure out like when do you harvest and when do you if there is enough time before the winter that you can wet it, and then you can like bale it dry,
Uh-huh.
or maybe you bale it in the spring, but you need to have this kind of planning kind of in place, so you don't really like count with the field in the spring to be sowed or something, because you still have there the hemp to be like kind of collected.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do in Europe here like these like winter collections, because in the winter, if there is like dry winter, it also like dries out.
Hmm.
uh, but the quality can be a little bit lower, and also you lose kind of like the chance to like do some early
So what do
sorting.
you do with the low quality stuff? Can you still, utilize it in some way?
Well, like hemp seeds, low quality, they can still be used at least in Europe for like feeding, or if
Mm.
like for the technical oils.
Uh-huh.
And uh, with the stem, really depends like what your target market, depends. I cannot
Yeah.
say like can be still like processed, and and but if it's like too much moisture or too much like mold on that, you probably not able to sell it anyhow,
Mm.
because maybe you can bale it and burn it. It's still like good heating, kind of like fuel fuel purpose, biomass purpose.
Biomass.
Yeah,
Biomass.
I
So,
think.
what has been the most exciting thing for you working with hemp and genetics? Like, what is your favorite thing that you like to do?
Well, I like to be on the field, I like to be like around the like farming and on the field. We've been doing like handmade harvest, so we was like hiring like many people and spent like all summer and autumn on the field harvesting hemp. That was really cool. Even like it was a lot of work and like managing people. It's not always like super like fun, because like everybody has like own like kind of
I'll come work
machine.
on your farm. That sounds like fun to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was fun, but we stopped it because in the harvest was not easy to hire the people like in this COVID time. Like
Oh, yeah.
we stopped it, and now we like moved to the like program where we more like supplying the farmers the seeds, but also trying to make them contract. So we buy the seeds from them,
Hmm.
and we also manage them to have a contract for the stem, so the farmers have kind of like reason to grow, because we help them kind of like manage all operation, because we supply them the seeds, we tell them how to grow, we tell them
Hmm.
where to sell, we tell them where to get contracts in place. So
Awesome. So you've done a lot to help connect the community in hemp in that area. In that.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I think like my passion is work with the farmers more than do it my own,
Hmm.
because since I don't have the infrastructure, it's very costly to be renting fields and renting all the equipment.
Hmm.
So I find out like if I'm just like the person who helping farmers to tell them how to do, and like share my experience
Uh-huh.
to make them kind of like skip some of the struggles what I passed.
Nice.
It can be kind of like both when they're happy that they don't have
Hmm.
to kind of experience the same struggle I did, and they can just like find also like where to sell their product. So yeah,
So you help them with the best practices and such.
yeah,
And you've also just recently started a company in US. So you're also consulting and helping people in US
right,
with
right,
seeds.
my partner is American, so, and I've been like going to US since like 2016 or 17, and working with the farmers. Actually, my first journey was about the like seeds program. But I was like helping one company to get some like genetics from Europe.
Mhm.
ways to sell them. So it was like successful journey. Even like
So you've
didn't
seen a
let
lot
me.
of good success in US with the European seeds.
Yeah, well, like there is a Polish program which sells the seeds there. Now we helping bring this like French genetics, and I think those are the two programs which have really like the enough scalability for US, because also when like US farmers start to grow hemp and they learn how to do it, like they always going back. It's not like average farm in Czech Republic is probably one of the biggest, but it's still like not big enough for like US farmers,
Mhm.
which is like maybe like 300 acres. But like Austrian farmer, it's like 3 acres. So like US has like much bigger farm. It's like few thousand acres
Mhm.
average farm probably. So of course if the farmer want to grow, and they will need like big big supply and big scalability before they start to do like own multiplication in US, but it really takes time. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
nobody going to give like
Yeah.
genetics to the French farmers who just like trying to figure out
It's been
everything
years
else.
that you've been figuring these things out. You've taken a lot of time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's going to take years for anything that's new to really understand, right? Many cycles to really understand and feel like the soil conditions and environment and stuff and how the seed's going to go.
Yeah, so I think what we are trying also to do in US, we also created the farmer's guide, which is like 6 page of like information for the farmer, how to grow. So we have like me as a consultant for farmers, but we also like have in the team US farmer consultant who has experience with cultivation of hemp. So we're really trying to take care about our clients, not just like sell them hemp and like
Yeah.
next year.
Well, I can see that from what you said before. If somebody comes to you and they want to buy seed, you don't just sell them seed. You tell them, well, what is your purpose? And I really appreciate that about you, because you
Yeah,
really
well, like somebody
genuinely,
somebody can say like it's not your problem, or why
yeah,
why you care, like somebody can be pissed off that I'm like so kind of like asking, but like okay, you don't tell me, okay, I don't ask much, and good luck, and like, but you can still call me if you really like feel like you really like need some consultant, like don't hesitate, because I really, because I feel like if we, because in the CBD industry, like okay, like how US like started hemp industry, like from marijuana they started this low THC marijuana, they start to call it hemp, and this is like now hemp industry in US,
mhm,
more than less. And then like many farmers get screwed up because of like genetics was crazy expensive, and like it was getting hot, and then like all the American farmers was able to produce in 1 year enough like CBD for like all the world in for next 5 years, so okay, didn't work. I think it is like overproduction in US of the CBD wasn't really like well counted or well, like really like didn't really help to like start hemp industry in US the right way, I will say, because like many farmers who start to do this like low THC marijuana, I don't even call it hemp. It's not hemp really, like for me. Um, so they really like lost a lot of money, so they don't really like want to like do anything, like I don't want to like no hemp, don't talk to me hemp. I'm happy with my car, no cotton, I know what I get, don't worry. So yeah, but like now I think like still many want to give a chance. They like the ones who was like really kind of like trying to go in hemp industry because they really wanted to do like industrial hemp,
mhm,
grain and fiber. Now it's kind of getting probably the right time, because this like CBD wave, it's like getting down or even like disappeared, So now they really want to do industrial hemp, and it's a lot of like processing getting built, and a lot of farmers getting start to grow, and also a lot of like trust by the universities,
Right.
getting some data for the farmers. We've been like putting our seeds last year in like 12 university trials, this year probably even more. So it's also, like this start takes time, because the farmers need the data, the farmers
Right.
need the experience, farmers need like good genetics to start, which are proven by which are proven by universities or somebody else. They don't like really like fail their first like experience. So yeah, I think it's a good start, and we are really getting there. So
Mhm.
I believe we can really in a few years see some big productions of hemp in US,
Mhm.
very successful. But also like there is a lot of like decortication line getting built, and probably not every of
Yeah.
them going to like really like end up with some big success, because it's not really easy, such projects. So but it's a learning experience, and I believe like at least like if even like half which are going on will succeed, it's a big thing for all US, because
Yeah.
then US will have like more decortication line than like all Europe, it's just like 1 year, so it can be good.
So what kind of advice would you give somebody who is going from producing CBD to now wanting to do more industrial also? Like, can they do that on the same, farmland? They need to make sure that they, grow those two separately, or any kind of thoughts on that?
Well, we have a farmers like who grow CBD, and they grow also industrial hemp for fiber and grain. I don't think it's like really like need to be split. I just like think they just like it's like different. Like kind of this like low THC marijuana. It's more horticulture.
Uh-huh.
You grow it like in the big rows, you give it space, you need to put the plastic, that there is no like the weeds or something else. And industrial hemp, you just like do more like tents, and you really need the machines. So it's like just like different way. It's like
Yeah.
there's no really like reason to giving like farmers like advice like how to switch, more like when to switch, like you have like buyer.
Right.
But
Right.
this is like same like with the CBD, like many people started to grow CBD, and then they was like, oh, I cannot sell, oh,
Yeah.
so
So having
I
that end market is more
yeah,
important than anything, before
yeah.
you go and get all the equipment and all that stuff. Make sure that you have the end buyer.
Yeah, and I will say also, like try it on the small, like before you go big, just get some few varieties, do small plots, check it out how it grows on your land. Try
Mhm.
more lands. Maybe you have different lands. Maybe more it's like lower pH. Some it's like higher pH. Figure it out. Get your own experience.
Yeah.
Start big from beginning ever.
Start small.
Cost money to start big,
Yeah.
so like experience like how it grow, you can like really got on small, so probably like just like start, but small, like see the plant, like you can touch it, you can see it, you can figure out like where is the best soil,
Mhm.
and what's the fertilization the plants need, so you can try to apply it like with some different what you are used to use,
Mhm.
apply. like the like where is the buyer is the first, you know. If you are in
Yeah.
the area where it's like nobody processing hemp straw, you're probably going to grow just like small hemp for like seeds,
Hmm.
and then you just like need to look like where it's like somebody going to buy the seeds, and if there is nobody buying seeds around you and nobody going to buy straw, okay. You just have to find investor who put the plant next to your farm, or like you just like forgot about that, you know, because like you need the processing for hemp
Right.
always.
So what do you see is kind of, in the future, in the next 5 to 10 years, where do you see the hemp industry going? Um,
In Europe or in US?
let's do both.
Well, I think in Europe it's going really to this like farming credits, because Europe it's all about the like carbon farming, carbon,
Yeah.
um, and also we have this like Green Deal, so we really like trying to replace all the fossil fuels with the plant materials, which is like well funded by European Union. And hemp really like fits in all these like programs, so I believe like hemp will go big in a couple of years. Again, it's all about the infrastructure, and we still missing infrastructure even Europe in like 30 years of development.
Yeah.
So it's still kind of process to get there.
Right.
But now with this like war behind our door, and like are not too far, and like trying to get the fossil fuel supply from Russia, like cut it off. So I think there will be even like more push to really like be able to be self-efficient and like getting on, you know,
Right.
sources from plant materials which can be replaced in the like fossil fuel materials from
Right.
our own lands. And also hemp is a good good plant, because there is always big discussion. Okay, we are going to grow like industrial crops, but who is going to feed us? But hemp is still like seed source when you grow it for like stem, you know, so you
Hmm.
can still like do the dual crop. So there is no real competition of hemp with the food crops. So big, like if you just like grow like kenafo, I don't know, like saffron, like it's just like industrial. Even like saffron, it's also like all crop. But yes, so I think it can be like big, but again, it's all about investment.
Right.
Somebody have to pay all the infrastructure, and without infrastructure nothing really get moved, you know.
Right. We need to have the
So
the processing on a larger scale, right, to support the more of the growth in the farms.
yeah,
Um,
it's
yeah.
like, and it need to be kind of like regional hubs created like in Europe, you know, the same in US. So if somebody going to pay for that, sooner
Yes.
we get there.
Yes.
So I started hemp like in 20 years to study, and I was like thinking, wow, such a great plan. It must be there in 5 years. Let's go.
20 years later, we're still
and,
going.
and then you know, and as I said, yeah, I could have teach you patience, you know. So
Yes.
you don't really like push anywhere. It's just like working hard to like let the people understand what needs to be done, and like
Yeah.
connect with the ones who understand that. And in the hemp industry, it's a lot of people who a lot of talking. There is not many people who really want to do the stuff, you know, because many
Mm.
people get excited, but then
Then they lose the excitement when they realize how much patience they need, right?
how much patience they need, how much money they need, and how much work they have to do. It's not like easy for everybody to accept such a challenge.
Right. Well, Hannah, like I really appreciate your patience and over the years and what you've done, in hemp seed genetics and preserving kind of the purity of it. And I just look forward to staying connected and further learn how we can grow together. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been such a pleasure. Is there any last words or anything that you want to say before we
Yeah,
finish?
I just really like our talk about like India and Nepal, and I really want to say that I'm really looking forward to work more in India and Nepal and saving the genetics and the genetics of the real origin in
Yes, some
India
of the
and
original seed,
Nepal,
right?
and because those are the countries which really was the mother and father of this plant, and we just like took it from there mostly for our like THC uh, breeding of cannabis and never paid back. So I'm really looking forward to be able to study in India the seed genetics and be able to create some kind of genetics program or like the genetic saving
Yes.
yeah, something. And the same in Nepal, because the people, they still grow their hemp, they still use it, the ropes, the building, the food,
Mhm.
they still even like trading it, they have like hemp seeds has its own value in Nepal, and you can
Yeah.
trade particular amount of hemp seeds for like particular amount of rice, and hemp has a higher value than the rice there. So it's a still, yeah, it's a still some kind of important commodity for the people in those
Mhm.
areas, and I think we can learn a lot from them,
Yeah.
and also just like, yeah, as I said, like if we are able to protect the genetics there, it will also help us in the future to just like be able to understand better the plant, and yeah, use it, this
Yes.
origin plants for our own breeding. We will be
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you so much, Hana. You're like the mother of protecting the seed.
Let's see if we can make it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you too.